Doesn't that intro fill just so many people with hype? Greetings, welcome ladies and gents, I'm the Super Gamer, and Super Smash Bros. Melee is a game that people honestly cannot get enough of. Super Smash Bros. Melee is widely considered to be one of the best Smash Bros. Games ever made, even considering it the best fighting game of all time, period. And I guess they have a point. The creator of the series, Masahiro Sakurai, said that he went through hell developing the game, not taking a single break for the entirety of the development. Now, I don't know about you, but when someone nearly kills themselves for a game, you know they put a lot of effort into it, and the blood, sweat, and tears paid off. To this day, Melee is still played competitively at some of the biggest tournaments in the world, and has given some of the best and most thrilling moments in esports history. But today, I'm here to see if any of that hype is warranted. Ladies and gents, this is Super Smash Bros. Melee for the Nintendo GameCube. As far as a story is concerned, Melee has none. The closest thing to a story in Smash Bros. Wouldn't exist until the Subspace Emissary in Smash Bros. Brawl. As far as what we have is concerned, we do know that the fighter's spirits originate within the trophies of an unseen child, in which case, this child has somewhat of an unhealthy obsession with collecting them. Then again, I'm one to talk. So yeah, nowadays we're used to having stories in our fighting games, but this was back in 2001, where stories were frankly irrelevant, so I can let it slide. After all, the gameplay is what matters most in a fighting game. Right off the bat, for a launch title for the Nintendo GameCube, it still is a really good looking game. The character models are all well crafted, the voice acting is superb, giving us all the iconic voices for these characters, the stages are all well designed and varied, and the soundtrack is just excellent. I mean, we all know the amazing Hyrule Temple remix from Zelda 2, but the rest of the soundtrack as a whole is wonderfully put together like one of Princess Peach's cakes. Now, to talk about something I'll be talking about a lot more often this season, the sound design. Sound design is a pretty important part of not just fighting games, but video games period. I mean, without sound design, every game would be an incredibly awkward experience. As far as Melee's sound design is concerned, I'm not really a big fan of it. The announcer actually sounds cooler with the compression on his voice, but I'm not the biggest fan of the attacking sound effects. I don't know, it just seems to feel like that my attacks don't really have that much of an impact, which is a serious issue I have. There is one exception to this though. The sound effect that plays when you knock someone off the stage with a home run bat, or when you manage to land a killing rest as Jigglypuff, it's just really satisfying to listen to. Dang, that never gets old. On top of that, the menus all have this cool computer look to them, and the sheer fast pace of the game is very thrilling to watch. The Super Smash Bros. Series can be considered what is called a platform fighter. Unlike traditional fighting games, where there are two people fighting until their health bars reach 0, Smash Bros. Can have up to 4 players on the screen at once and use percentage meters for tracking. Your main objective is to knock your opponents off the stage until they lose all their stocks, or lives, or until the time runs out. The more that you hit your opponent, the more likely they are to be launched away, by either using an aerial move or a charged up smash attack. Your attacks correspond with either the A or B button on the controller. The A button is used for basic attacks, smash attacks, and aerial attacks, while the B button is used for your specials, which are different for each and every character. There's also grabbing and throwing by using the L, R, and Z buttons on the top of the controller. If you're just playing casually, then we got plenty of items to spice things up. These items come in different flavors: utility, transformation, and summoning. Taking into account all of these factors, Smash Bros. May seem like a pretty overwhelming game at first glance, but more often than not, it's actually really simple to get the idea of what to do and learn how to win. That's really one of my favorite things about the Smash series as a whole. It's easy to pick up, but tough to master. At its maximum potential, this game is one of the fastest fighting games of all time. It may not seem like it from my gameplay, but that's just because I'm still pretty new to this entry in the series. But when you go and watch competitive players play this game, it looks so fast and ridiculous, it can look like you're watching an anime fight. However, if you want a meatier single-player experience, this game's got you covered. There's Classic Mode, which is essentially Smash's arcade mode, where you fight against randomly selected opponents and face against the final boss. And there's Adventure Mode, which puts you through several challenges from the characters' respective games. Personally, I just thought this mode went on for too long, and just gave up after a while. Then we have mini-games like Home Run Contest, where you use a home run bat to smack a sandbag as far as possible, Multi-Man Melee, where you face a certain number of opponents under certain conditions, and Target Smash, where your knowledge of the characters is put to the test, as the target's locations are different for each and every character. And finally, we have the Event Mode, where you fight in different matches under certain conditions and using certain characters. The last thing to really talk about in Smash Bros. Melee is how to unlock hidden characters, and this is honestly my biggest issue with the game as a whole. Now, some tasks are simple, like beating Classic Mode without using a continue, beating a certain event in an event match, or using a certain amount of characters in Classic Mode. But then there are really stupid ones like beating 100-man Melee, which is a lot harder than it sounds. You wanna know how you do this? Pick Donkey Kong, go to the center of the stage, and mash down B until everything dies. And even that doesn't work sometimes. But by far the worst one is the one to unlock Mewtwo. It asks you to play a single match for over 20 hours. 20 hours! Granted, that time required decreases the more controllers you have plugged in, but it still requires at least 5 hours of a single match. Who in their right mind would be willing to make one match last 5 to 20 hours? It's completely ludicrous. Honestly, unlocking the characters in Smash Bros. Melee is frankly a really tiring thing to do, that I personally didn't bother for most of the characters in the game. Super Smash Bros. Melee is a one-of-a-kind game. Like, its gameplay has lasted so many years, and the fact that people are still playing this competitively at tournaments big and small to this very day is just absolutely mind-boggling. And after playing it, I can see why that is, cause yeah, this is a very fast-paced game. But do I consider it the best Smash Brothers? No, not by a long shot. Now, I liked it, alright? I really did, but I didn't quite love it. In all honesty, I would rather play Smash Bros. Brawl than Melee any day, because Brawl has a better sound design, a better soundtrack, better graphics, and overall just like it's just a better game for me in general. So with that said, I'm just going to give Super Smash Bros. Melee for the Nintendo GameCube a 4 out of 5. Until then, I'm Super Gamer, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye!